Link TV, connecting you to the world. Link TV is viewer supported. Watch more at linktv.org.
Link TV presents Mosaic World News from the Middle East. Here are today's top stories.
More suspects named in Dubai murder. Kurds vow to back Shiite coalition choice for prime minister. And Turkey's parliament backs key constitutional changes. Mosaic World News from the Middle East begins now.
Dubai police released the names of 5 new suspects linked to the assassination of Hamas leader Mahmoud al-Mabhouh, raising the number of suspects to 32.
5 أسماء جديدة أضافتها شرطة دبي إلى قائمة المتهمين.
Dubai police added 5 new names to the list of suspects linked to the assassination of Hamas leader Mahmoud al-Mabhouh, raising the number of suspects to 32. Dubai police that had previously said that the number of suspects could increase disclosed that the new names include 2 French nationals, 2 British nationals, and 1 Australian woman. These are the new suspects. French national Laurent Bunil, born in 1969. He went to Dubai with the other suspects.
تردد على دبي مع متهمين آخرين.
The other French national is Albert Peugeot, born in 1980. He went to Dubai to watch Mabhouh several times. Once he went to Dubai with the other suspects.
وفي مرة أخرى مع متهمين آخرين.
The third suspect is Australian woman Ellen Brofsky, who was born in 1973. She came to Dubai with the other suspects. Also, British national Alan Lopez Taylor, born in 1971. He visited Dubai with the other suspects, and British national David Berkeley, born in 1964, and like the others, he came to Dubai to monitor al-Mabhouh's activities. He came another time with the others.
إضافة إلى الكشف عن هذه الأسماء كشفت شرطة دبي عن.
In addition to disclosing these names, Dubai police released new accusations against the American-based Pioneer Company, which issued the suspects the credit cards they used to reserve hotel rooms and buy plane tickets. The accusations range between issuing credit cards to some suspects based on their forged identification cards and issuing credit cards to some suspects as if they were employees of American companies.
لبعض المتهمين على أنهم موظفون يعملون لدى
These companies deposited funds in the suspects' bank accounts as salaries. However, these companies were established by the Pioneer Company. As new accusations and names are released, it seems that developments in the Mabhouh assassination continue to unfold. Zain al-Faris, Al-Arabiya.
Israeli investigators said that the fire in the mosque of the city of Luban al-Sharqiya in the West Bank was caused by arson. Residents of Nablus accused Jewish settlers of burning down the mosque, which was initially denied by the Israeli government. But now Israel says that the investigation into the matter has indicated that the incident was a deliberate crime. It is worth mentioning that lately Jewish settlers' attacks on mosques and properties in the occupied Palestinian territories have become more frequent. The Israeli Sal Technology Corporation organized an exhibition for a number of defense systems, in particular air defense systems. This comes at the sidelines of a conference held to discuss the challenges that Israel faces and what the organizers describe as air dangers. A number of experts and officials in Israeli security and military institutions attended the conference, in addition to numerous officials from the German Air Force, the U.S. Department of State, and the Japanese Defense Ministry. Our correspondent in Israel, Shireen Yunus, has more details.
ما نراه هنا هو جزء من الوسائل الدفاعية الجوية الإسرائيلية التي تطور محليا.
What we see here is part of the Israeli air defense system, locally developed to deal with short-range and long-range missiles that are considered to be a threat to Israeli security. The Hetz or Arrow missile, for example, responds to long-distance threats and can reach beyond Israel's airspace if necessary. On the second level is the Sharbit missile that can deter rockets.
أما منظومة كيبات برزيل أو القبة الحديدية السورية فقد صنعت لتتعاطى
Kibat Barzai, or the Iron Dome system, can intercept short-distance threats. After the system passes the final test in the summer, it will be installed in some Israeli regions, especially those close to the Gaza Strip.
The goal of the Iron Dome is to protect Israel from short-range missiles, such as the Qassam and Grad rockets.
هذا المعرض جاء على هامش مؤتمر امتد ليومين وهو الأول من نوعه.
This exhibition came on the sidelines of a two-day conference. The first of its kind, the conference discusses the means to deal with so-called missile threats and unconventional weapons. Local and international experts and officials participated in the conference, which is hosted by the Israeli Defense Ministry and various Israeli military manufacturers. It is worth noting that the discussion prominently included all of the threats that Israelis perceive, but the organizers refused to name them, especially those concerning the Iranian nuclear program.
The conference opens the door to a wide-range discussion of the capabilities that were recently developed and a necessary means to improve these capabilities in order to deal with the danger that we hear about in the media.
ويأتي هذا المؤتمر قبل أيام من انعقاد مؤتمر
This conference came several days before the 6th National Security Conference, which is dubbed Air Force and the Challenges that Israel Faces.
Iran, Syria,
Hezbollah, Hamas, the Northern Front, the Southern Front, the air, the sea, the land. Israel is preparing for all possible unofficial war scenarios by holding conferences to raise awareness and arranging military and civilian training. No one in this region can guarantee long-term stability in the shadow of continuous conflicts. From Tel Aviv, Shireen Yunus, BBC.
Security forces clashed with about 100 young protesters today as they attempted to destroy a house in the settlement of Hashmonaim near Modi'in. The security forces managed to demolish 2 illegally built structures, but faced great opposition before they were able to destroy the third. The owners of the 3-story building unsuccessfully tried to show proof that their house was built legally. The protesters barricaded themselves inside the house for a few hours before the troops managed to evacuate them by force and destroy the building. It was a dramatic moment in Jerusalem District Court this morning as former Prime Minister Ehud Olmert met his fellow defendant and former bureau chief Shula Zaken face-to-face for the first time since the Holy Land real estate scandal exploded a month ago. IBA's Leah Zinder has more.
Shula Zaken is still under house arrest for her suspected role in the Holy Land scandal, but today's court hearing was not about the Holy Land corruption allegations. Rather, it centered on the so-called Rishon Tours affair, in which Olmert and Zaken are accused of engaging in double billing, charging numerous charitable organizations for the same overseas flights. Heads of several public organizations testified before the court today, including that of Yad Vashem and the Association for the Welfare of IDF Soldiers. Jerusalem prosecutor Elia Barbanel told the court that Olmert and Zaken used the Rishon Tours travel agency to defraud the organizations that sent Olmert to recruit donations abroad. Barbanel charged that the two produced phony documents with false information on Olmert's travel plans. Olmert's defense attorney, Navit Negev, on the other hand, claimed that the former prime minister gave of his time voluntarily to those organizations and traveled abroad to work on their behalf, not, in her words, to have a good time. She denied that Olmert used his excess travel allowances to fly his family members abroad, claiming instead that he used the frequent flyer points he earned in his travels. Just ahead of today's hearing, Olmert spoke to reporters, charging that he is the victim of a, quote, brutal, ruthless and cruel witch hunt never before seen in Israel. The former premier refused to specify who, in his view, was behind the witch hunt, saying only they are officials responsible for upholding the law who, with their actions, violate human rights and threaten the rule of law. Olmert then made reference to the $1 million bribe that, according to police, he was allegedly handed in the Holy Land affair. Olmert has yet to be questioned by police over those allegations, and today he wondered aloud, how can it be that no one from the police has come to me for 3 weeks? Olmert repeated the claim that, quote, "I was never offered and have never received a bribe from anybody, directly or indirectly, in this case or any other at any time in my life." But despite his defiant words, Olmert's legal problems continue to multiply. Police investigators have told the press that they're now investigating suspicions that Ehud Olmert transferred illicit funds that he received from the Holy Land developers to his brother Yossi, who lives in the United States. Yossi Olmert left the country several years ago after a business venture failed and he fell into debt. Leah Zinder for IBA News.
Leaders of the Iraqi National Alliance and the Arakiya list met at the headquarters of Vice President Adel Abdul Mahdi. They talked about how Iraq can be transitioned to stability and how the new parliament and national unity government can be formed. Following the meeting, the head of the Arakiya list, Iyad Alawi, said that his list is committed to its constitutional right to form the government because it won the largest number of votes. He added that he wants to keep the communication channels open with all the political parties.
العراقية متمسكة بالاستحقاق الانتخابي والاستحقاق الدستوري.
The Iraqiya list is committed to its constitutional and democratic right based on the results of the elections. It also wants to keep the channels of communication open with Iraqi political parties, especially the Iraqi National Alliance. This meeting will be followed by other meetings in the near future in order to strengthen the partnerships, especially considering that we are a major force in the national coalition. We have a common history and a long path of struggle against the former dictatorship and in the establishment of democracy in Iraq.
Rafa al-Isawi, the current deputy prime minister and an al-Iraqiya chief negotiator, criticized those who say that al-Iraqiya should be part of the new government, not the party that forms the new government.
In the past period, we have heard a lot of talk that the new government must include the Iraqiya list. We thank all of our brothers who share this spirit, but we must also point out that there is a big difference between forming a government that includes al-Iraqiya and granting al-Iraqiya its constitutional right to form the new government. I say this with all due respect to the other political blocs, regardless of their size and alliances. Today, we are talking about a constitutional law, and if it is violated, the political process will face a problem. We thank the Iraqi National Alliance for this invitation. This is the beginning, and it will pave the way for other meetings with the other parties. I want to reiterate that we do not have any objections to future alliances.
Vice President Adel Abdul Mahdi said that the alliance between the State of Law Coalition and the Iraqi National Alliance will not fool anyone.
We do not want this alliance to give any negative impressions. We want alliances to be formed on the basis of communication, not boycotts. We are trying to provide all the necessary conditions for the success of the political and election processes. All election laws and everyone's rights must be respected. We will not take away anyone's rights, and we will not violate the Constitution. We will not violate the political norms in this country. Rather, we will try to reach an agreement that respects everyone's ambitions and goals, as expressed in their political platforms.
Mr. Saleh Khattab, amidst the government's poor performance in the sectarian crimes, how will the deployment of militias affect the security situation in the country, which is already deteriorating?
There is a clear return to sectarianism, which has the blessing of the occupation and, of course, the blessing of the Iraqi government. As we are aware, Iraq is about to enter the third stage of colonization, which will render the presence of American forces in Iraq permanent. The Americans insist on what they call withdrawal or redeployment. This means that the time has come to eliminate any Sunni forces, regardless of how weak or strong they may be. The results of the latest election showed that the Sunnis should have a role to play, as minor as it may be. However, they want to completely eliminate the Sunnis from Iraq. They want to terrorize the Sunnis. This is the objective behind the leaked news reports and the continual harming of Sunni citizens in Iraq. They want to force them to leave Iraq or lay low and accept the small things, if anything at all.
أيضا المشاهد المروعة التي تناقلتها وسائل الإعلام للقوات الحكومية.
The Iraqi Interior Ministry verified the horrifying scenes broadcast in the media of government forces beating an unarmed man to death. The ministry said that the man was armed and that he wanted to blow up a car at a police station. The question is, should a defendant be beaten to death in the street while people are watching, or should he be tried in court?
بالنسبة لي على الأقل أنا أقول أن هذا جزء
I think this is part of a campaign to terrorize the people. Perhaps the purpose behind the leaked images is a deliberate intent to send a message to the Sunnis in particular and patriotic Iraqis that they could have a similar fate. We are not talking about the court or an independent investigation. To the contrary, the Interior Ministry stated today that this person was not killed by torture. They said that he was killed by the police before he was able to carry out an operation. Of course, this is not true. Everyone can see the videotape and see that the man was suffering from pain and was tortured until he finally died beneath their feet. Therefore, it may have been a deliberate attempt to send terrorizing messages to deter Iraqis from holding patriotic positions, especially the Sunnis. It is regrettable that I say these things, but I'm not motivated by sectarian reasons at all.
Iraqi journalist and writer Saleh Khattab from Doha. Thank you very much.
Officials from the Justice and Development Party considered the Turkish parliament's approval of the bill to amend the constitution to be a legal revolution that will lead Turkey forward.
Meanwhile, the Turkish opposition said that it will challenge the legitimacy of these amendments by appealing to the Constitutional Court.
Yesterday, the parliament approved a constitutional amendment package proposed by the Justice and Development Party. These amendments aim at limiting the legitimacy of some judicial bodies and the army.
Mazir Ibrahim reports on the reactions generated by the approval of Turkey's constitutional amendments.
Yesterday's Turkey is not the same as today's Turkey. The Turkish people are halfway to reaching the forbidden, which has been imposed on them by a long history of military coups. Yesterday, the Turkish parliament witnessed a new page in the history of the republic and the opening of a new chapter. The judiciary and the military are two institutions that are under the executive authority and will be independent as long as they are planning a role in the political struggle that the country is witnessing. So Turkey is halfway to change. The rest of the path is based on the result of the referendum. Of course, if the predictions of the referendum are correct, which indicate that the general public accepts the bill, it will be sufficient to secure its passing.
What was done yesterday erased the effects of the Constitution that was imposed by a coup in 1980. It is the legal revolution that reflects the people's will and removes the control that the Constitutional Court has on political life and a high judicial council, and will lead Turkey to a better future.
The referendum will take place 16 days after it is signed by the president and published in the official newspapers, but the opposition is trying to create obstacles for the referendum. The next step for the opposition is to appeal to the Constitutional Court to challenge the legitimacy of these amendments, or maybe go further and demand a ban on the Justice and Development Party.
We will take the amendment bill to the Constitutional Court. The Justice and Development Party is trying to monopolise political life. It is seeking to place the Constitutional Court and the high judicial bodies under the government's control. This is a very dim picture for Turkey, in which the Justice and Development Party is trying to stage a civil coup.
But appealing to the Constitutional Court, which consists of 11 people, will turn the court into an opponent and a judge simultaneously. One of the most prominent constitutional reform articles stipulates the restructuring of the Constitutional Court. Therefore, many believe that the judges will likely accept the case and will take their time to study it, waiting for the country to enter a period of time during which a referendum could be held. The Constitution stipulates that referenda cannot be conducted within a year from the parliamentary election. With the date of the parliamentary election set for next summer, the Constitutional Court may postpone its decision on the matter until it becomes constitutional to conduct a referendum. A big step forward was taken by the Justice and Development Party to establish a new foundation for the country's political games. The opposition will try to block this step through the Constitutional Court, which will lead the country into a political conflict. Early representative elections may be one way to avoid that path. Mazal Ibrahim, Al Jazeera, Ankara.
It's been another deadly day for the US-led NATO troops in Afghanistan, where 2 soldiers from the alliance were killed in separate attacks. With the new deaths, 184 foreign troops have been killed in the country so far in 2010. We're going to talk to Press TV's correspondent in Kabul, Faiz Khurshid, who has been following the story for us. Faiz, tell us now about the latest casualties.
Well, Nagas, these 2 soldiers have been killed in 2 separate incidents in the south and east. Southern and eastern parts of Afghanistan are the deadliest battlefields for the US and NATO forces here fighting against the Taliban. One of these 2 soldiers has been killed in an explosion, while another one has been killed in an indirect fire. This has been reported by NATO headquarters here in the Afghan capital, but they did not reveal the exact locations where these 2 incidents happened, as well as the nationalities of these soldiers. And it seems now that the unchecked Taliban resurgence continues, inflicting heavy casualties on foreign troops. In the latest deaths, pushed to 184, the overall number of foreign troops killed this year here in Afghanistan. And as the fighting continues, intensifying, many here say that the death toll of the foreign troops will keep rising. Most of these deaths, Nargis, have been killed in roadside bombs. These bombs, difficult to detect, have now become the biggest killer of the foreign troops, and the threat of these bombs is rising. This has been stated by the top U.S. Army's general, who was make this a statement here in Kabul recently. And sometimes these bombs that are planted by the Taliban militants also cause civilian deaths. Just a few hours ago, Afghan sources told me that 6 Afghan civilians have died when their vehicle hit a roadside bomb in the south of the Afghan capital. And when it comes to foreign troops' deaths, many here on the streets of Kabul ask only one question, that why are the Taliban militants much more resilient, and despite the presence of tens of thousands of foreign troops? And analysts say that the double standard policies of the United States of America are the reply.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to ask you exactly about that, because of course we see the polls in the West and in those NATO countries, and we do know that as these deaths increase, popularity for the war decreases. And I was going to ask you how the Afghans are taking this. Are they worried if they feel that the Taliban, in essence what you're saying is that they feel the Taliban is winning this war?
Yeah, but given the facts on the ground, we see that the Taliban are now winning the war, because the Taliban attacks are increasing day by day, not only in southern Afghanistan, but also in eastern and now also in the northern parts of Afghanistan. And these attacks have reflected this fact that the Taliban are winning, and the NATO forces are under extreme pressure, and they're increasingly being threatened by the Taliban militants now. And this concern is also being stated and expressed by NATO commanders in Afghanistan. So Afghan people say that this war will continue inflicting heavy casualties on foreign troops, because despite the presence of tens of thousands of foreign troops, the Taliban militants are still resilient and violent.
Many thanks there, Faiz, our correspondent in Kabul, giving us the latest. Faiz Khurshid.
The World Trade Organization, the WTO, has unanimously approved Syria's request to join.
After years of opposition by Israel and the U.S., the WTO has unanimously approved an application submitted by the Syrian Arab Republic to join the international organization.
All outstanding political obstacles have been removed. Syrian diplomacy has prevailed. The mission was successful due to the efforts of His Excellency President Bashar al-Assad. On May 4th, the General Council of the WTO approved Syria's membership application. This will lead to the launch of membership talks for full accession to the WTO.
Our members took the decision on the 4th of May.
On May 4th, the members of the General Council unanimously agreed to review the application submitted by Syria to join the World Trade Organization. This is an important step in the history of the Council because Syria is a country that enjoys economic influence, both at the regional and international levels. This position is shared by all members of the WTO's General Council. Developed countries fully realize the importance of Syrian participation in this international organization.
By establishing a multilateral international trading system, the WTO aims to liberalize international trade. Once its accession to the WTO is complete, the Syrian Arab Republic will have the opportunity for international achievements.
As far as the advantages are concerned, membership will enable Syria to protect its interests through its participation in the drafting of WTO policies and treaties. Its accession will also enable it to attain a competitive edge, improve and protect the quality of products, as well as boost its exports. In addition, the accession will help Syria build strong bridges with the world, as well as boost trade cooperation with developed nations. As for the costs, they are periodic and they can be offset by advantages gained over the medium and long run.
The endorsement of Syria's inclusion in the WTO is an important step towards accessing the international market. Taha Youssef Hassan, Syrian TV, the United Nations, Geneva.
The views expressed on Mosaic are from contributing broadcasters, not Link TV or its sponsors. The production of Mosaic is made possible from support of viewers like you. Thank you. Watch Mosaic World News online. Stay up to date with breaking news. Read our blog. Get transcripts of past shows and more at linktv.org/mosaic.
This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. network dedicated to global and national news, uncompromising documentaries, and diverse cultural programs. Programs which connect you to the world.